Welcome to No Question About That. Another day, another Manchester United game. Not a defeat, Daniel.
Oh, it's brilliant. What a feeling.
What a feeling we didn't get. That would have been bar for Rasmus's very, very late goal. Oh, they're coming for you. Okay. Bar for Rasmus's very late goal, that would have been the sixth team in the Premier League to do double over United this season.
And they're so shit as well, almost all of them.
I know, it's just... Oh, dearie me. Rasmus celebrated like he hadn't scored in 25 games, which was about right.
He got that one at Leicester, didn't he? But
he did,
I think
yeah.
Those are his only goals in 2025. It's interesting with Hojliund because for most of the game, I'm thinking his ability to elude the ball is fucking uncanny.
Yeah.
And yet, when we talk, and every time we sort of feels like we have a similar version of the same conversation, that there's something there. And I kind of, whenever you hear the experts talk about him, and I'm not talking about Jamie Redknapp particularly, like Jamie Redknapp is just it really, really grinds my gears when he's criticising United, because every single one of those dickheads is miles better at their job than he is at his. But when you see like Sturridge, he knows what a centre forward is, Shearer, Lineker, they all think that there's something there with Hojlund.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to find it. I don't know if he's going to find it exactly. But it's that there is something worth persevering with Hojlund. And I mean, the goal that he scored is obviously just he was in the right place at the right time, and that is his job.
Yep.
But the majority of the time, he remains in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. The contrast with Chido Obi is interesting, isn't it? Because he makes stuff happen for himself.
Yeah, he does make a difference. Yeah.
And
he when he came on, he's a bit of a focal point, but he's just better at finding space in the box, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's why he scored so many goals at youth level. And I don't think he's physically quite there, even though he's massive. He's obviously very slight, but he's going to score goals at this level. Rasmus, yeah, I can't put my finger on exactly why it goes wrong. He seems to... There was a few occasions today where Amorim was pointing to him, like shouting at him where to go. And it feels like they're trying to baby steps. It feels like when Mourinho was like publicly beating up on Luke Shaw and said, I have to tell him how to play. He's got no football brain. And it feels a bit like that with Rasmus, where they're trying to go, no, this run, that run. Bruno does it to him as well.
The one they used to say that about a lot was Jibril Cisse.
Right.
Who they spent some time, I can't remember, trying to teach him how to bend the run, and you just couldn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd asked a few people, and basically been told that United had given up on him, and he's playing all the time now because they're trying to play him into some form. Who knows? I mean, the PSR situation is quite hard to get rid of him. You'd have to, the paper talk last week was that they'll accept 30 million. That feels a stretch, and that would be an £8.5 million PSR loss that you'd have to suck up. I mean, obviously you take his wages off the books, but you presumably need two strikers then. So anyway, I mean, it's part of United's problem. 25 shots today, 2.4 XG. It's just not... That's a lot because it's come from a lot of low-value shots, basically. And that is United trying to walk into the box, but into the goal, but can't do it. It's just too blunt once they get into the final third. So you can see what they're trying to do. Don't do it very well. And then at the other end is another stupid data point. On metrics of balls lost in own third.
Lost in own third.
Yeah, versus build-up completion, right? United are one of the worst build-up teams, in the bottom three build-up teams in the Premier League, against statistically the best, by far actually the best pressing team. The number of opposition build-ups disrupted and the number of high turnovers, Bournemouth and miles ahead, top right. And so the goal that United conceded was just kind of written. That was how it was going to happen. United were going to try and build up. They would fail to build up and Bournemouth would score from it. And it's kind of classic.
I wouldn't say I exactly minded it, because that is one way that you have to be able to play football, and they have
absolutely.
They have to learn to do it. And I thought Dorgu actually, I mean, he was the one who was dispossessed, but I thought he got better through the game actually. Thought he was because he's someone who looked quite good in the first couple of games, and then you get that familiar feeling of, oh, oh, is he a bit shit, actually?
He's got time. He's raw.
Yeah, no,
He's very raw.
I know.
I really hate that ball that he got though, because Anana bobbles it out to Shaw, and then Shaw bobbles it out to him, and he's facing his back to play, right, coming back towards the goal, and so it's the kind of ball that central defenders really hate.
And if you're a striker, if you're pressing, you're looking at that, and that you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to have some of that. But when I said that he's someone you kind of wonder, is he a bit shit? Maybe. It's not. Well, I'm not particularly talking about the defending. I'm talking about the quality on the ball.
Yeah, and that's really noticeable when Harry Amas played the other day. He's just like, he's off the charts in terms of his comfort on the ball. Harry Amas, he always has been through all the age groups. But no right foot. Yeah, it's definitely a swinger. Yeah, but he's comfortable coming inside. He's comfortable going on the outside. He looks very much like Luke Shaw, likes the ball over the top, likes moving to the final third. It'll be interesting next season, because I do think Dorgu is going to have a challenge for that spot, or he could play over on the right, which he's done a couple of times.
Well, we're not going to buy a wing back, I don't suppose. Doesn't look like that now. So there's Dalot, Dorgu, Diogo Leon, Amas, and Mazraoui, I guess, and Shaw perhaps, who are going to be contesting those positions. And I've no idea what the best of them would be. We need to see more what Amas can do, defending and attacking, really.
Yeah, for sure.
But we know that he's got talent. We know he's good on the ball, and we know he's brave enough to take the ball too.
Very, very much. Yeah, like seeing those small spaces. You're looking at the potential connection with Garnacho, aren't you? And I think it would help Garnacho to have a player going on the outside regularly. I mean, Dorgu does that as well, but he's very, very rough when he gets the ball. So we'll see.
But and he finally gave him a pass, so we nearly scored. The one that when Mount thinks he scored, it's because Garnacho finally plays that pass when Dorgu tanks around the outside.
Yeah.
And the cut, there's a first-time cutback, and it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're going to have Garnacho next season, really.
It doesn't look like it, and that's going to be quite frustrating, because he is all action, trying to do stuff all the time. He's got 19 goals and assists this season, which is really good for a player of his age. Like, there's hardly anyone who'll do that. Obviously, Lamine Yamal is miles ahead of everyone else there. If he can finish, like, if he can be more regular with his finishing, which is obviously quite poor at the moment, or at least the conversion rate is.
It's not it's not as simple as the finishing. It's because the problem is it's when he takes so many shots that you're thinking, why are you shooting here, you goodness? Yeah. There was one today towards the end where it was just so obvious it was getting charged down. It almost starts to counter. It's so obvious it's getting charged down. And I think the thing we have with Garnacho, right, is we know he's got potential. We know that United, I wouldn't exactly say he's a United product, but he's got some Carrington in him. And you don't want to sell those players. But imagine he played for another team. Would we be trying to sign him? No.
Well, if it was Ed Woodward, we'd be putting 100 million on the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely not 75% of the finished product. It's just that you project forward and go, like, could it be really good? But there are some definitely ifs and buts. You'd want a big fee for sure.
I'd like to keep him because I think he's a good sub at worst, but he doesn't fit the formation. And if you think about what this team needs doing to it, right? So we're told that Cunha and a centre forward, let's say Delap for now, for argument's sake, those two are available out of budget, so we don't have to do anything in order to buy those two. We know what the price is because they've got release clauses. So and then if we think about what we need, we must sign a midfield player. I think we're going to, probably.
I'm sure.
A midfield player, we must sign a goalkeeper. And we really could do with another attacker as well. Those three. So if someone said to you, or said to United, because it might be as simple as this. Like, if we make the Champions League and we sell Rashford for a decent fee, then Garnacho might be able to stay. But if one of those two things doesn't happen, then we're told that we're trying to sign Mastantuono from River.
Yeah.
If you're offered him or Garnacho, and there probably is, it is probably a give or take. Like, roughly, if you sold Garnacho, you probably could afford to buy him. That doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I've been watching Mastantuono, but the way that he is spoken about, what you can see watching the highlights of him, it doesn't look like a difficult decision to me. If it is one or the other.
Yeah. It looks like there's going to be a whole bunch of creative deals, and clearly with Christian Vivel in the sort of the main seat, Steve Brown's been fired. Head scout, I guess he'd kind of been demoted, sort of. So not surprised that they're looking to make financial cuts there. And Vivel, very much known for scouring the world for hidden gems and polishing them up, which I kind of, we've spoken about it before, is the strategy this summer. Cunha's right at the top end of the age range and budget range. That's the one finished product. I imagine it looks like they're going to sign, and there'll be a whole bunch of youngsters, and they'll range from sort of, well, if it's an international transfer, it can't be an under 18s, or you have to make them wait, but it's going to be a whole bunch of younger players, ranging from big players that will go into the academy to slightly under-polished potential gems that fit the budget, and they're going to try and outthink the market, which is, there's not too many clubs managed to do that, and most definitely not United over the last 10 years.
Well, one of the things is, it's good that they don't appear to be fucking about.
Yeah.
Which is something we're very used to. We're used to loads of wrong decisions. I don't feel like we're going to necessarily eradicate those.
Loads of wrong decisions all coming on September the 2nd or something like that.
Yeah, the method. There's not going to be any more Saloni on deadline day. They've decided that Cunha's their man, and they're going to make fucking sure they sign him. I'm not sure how much what sort of competition there is, but they're going to sign him. Like, everyone knows that they're trying to sign Delap. Like, they've made their decisions, and they're trying to go about their business and get the deals done. And that feels like some kind of change. Whether these players are any good or not remains to be seen. Cunha has the feel of a good signing, I think.
Yeah. It feels
what they're saying really
expensive, but yeah,
it is expensive. But then if you think about, he's had 2 great seasons in the Premier League, and he signed the contract when he was committed to Wolves, so that this would happen. Yeah. So that when he went in this summer, they would get good whack for him. Yeah. He's involved in that, and part of me is like, dickhead, and part of me is like, okay, like Wolves find you when you really need it to be signed, when your career sort of stalled a little bit, and so you're paying them back. And I don't have a massive problem with that. It happens to be our money that they're getting as a consequence, but. I don't. Yeah, it is expensive, but it feels like we can understand what the expense is, what he's done versus when he signed that contract. But what it feels like, and is necessary, is if we watch this game, watch the Wolves game, it feels like those two who we've improved over the last few weeks, I think, and a decent attack. And I feel like even without the red card, which we'll come to, we probably would have won today, and we definitely would have beaten Wolves. So that's what they're doing. They're right. Okay. They're going to sign a left attack, a left 10, a centre forward, and if they can, a right 10 as well. And that is the attack sorted. In theory, obviously, we don't know how it's going to be, but they're identified by your inability to score goals. If you do not score, you cannot win. It is that
funny,
simple.
That one.
Yeah, it is that simple, and they're trying to address that situation. They're trying to address it by signing the best players they think they can. Like, who is a left 10 that we could sign that's better than Cunha? Yeah,
well, it's one of those ones at Aston Villa at the moment. It's done well in the Champions League now. I'm not going to get there. I'm kidding. I think the thing is, it's fine to ship out players, and it's fine to bring in new players. United's record over the last 10 years is every time we think we're getting rid of a player that's quote unquote dead wood and moving on, they turn out to be worse than the player that we had before. We just keep going backwards while spending loads of money. So we're just hoping and praying that, hopes and prayers that United don't fuck these up, and they're actually got the right kind of people in place now to make the right kind of decisions. And I think with Cunha, he has had 2 very good seasons. The output is not super stellar, but he is in a pretty crap Wolves side. So there's at least a narrative we could tell that his output would actually improve in a better side. Not that we're a better side,
but also it's not just about the numbers. It's about getting us up the pitch and getting us around the box and allowing us to sustain attacks and win fouls. All of these kinds of things that will make us a better team. It's not just number one, if we had his goals and assists this season, like if his production stays at the same level, we'd not be 25th in the table or whatever we are.
14th, we moved up the table today, Daniel.
Yeah.
Everton and West Ham lost.
Even I mean, West Ham is like, because I was talking to someone last night at party about who we thought might, Leeds fans, about who we thought might go down next season if they were to stay up. And it's like, West Ham have tried their fucking hardest to get relegated this season and they found it impossible. I think with Cunha, it's not just about, it's that he fits what we want from the left-hand position really well, in that he's not a lock picker, but Bruno is, and he'll be in the right 10. So it's a different, Bruno doesn't run with the ball that much, although he's doing it a little bit more these days. He doesn't beat men, Cunha does. He's not physical, Cunha is. He doesn't have pace, Bruno can play a bit deeper. Cunha's more of a centre forward. So, and was a centre forward till he went to Wolves. So the mixes work. The mixes work really well, I think.
Agreed.
The question I said this in the pod we did midweek was, how effective will he be against low blocks? But even against low blocks, you come back to that ability to get you up the pitch. Whoever you play in a low block, they're still going to try and counter on you. They're not doing anything. And then it's how you then build your attack when you're trying to retort. And I think he's not a magician, but I think that I'm hopeful that this is a good signing. I'm much more confident in him than Delap, I would say.
Oh, sure. I think he's much more risk-free. It's where is the ceiling is my question. But given that we're 14th in the table and short of money, this may be the best kind of deal we could possibly do for that position, right?
Look at it a different way. Look at it a different way then. What's his ceiling? What is Trossard's ceiling? Or Havertz's ceiling?
Yeah, sure.
Or like teams that are miles better than us. Is Alexis McAllister miles better than Cunha? I don't think so. No. I mean, he was excellent at Anfield. Actually, it was when his performance at Anfield was one of those performances where I said to a mate that actually I'm sold. Okay, I've seen enough now, and I think Cunha's good enough for what we want to get to. I mean, even like City, like if you look at all the teams that are good, do they have a better player in like the nearest obvious comparator to Cunha? Is their player there better than Cunha? In a lot of the cases, it's give or take or no.
Sure.
So I do think he can hit that level. I'd like, let's say for a second that comes and maybe they'll end up at Chelsea. I mean, I find it mind-boggling really that anyone with options would go to Chelsea, because although they're better than we are at the moment, unless you're desperate to live in London, can you see this team winning a league like this? They're miles away.
They're going to fire Maresca in like November or something like that. And
then have to find someone else. And even though they're better than us by many, many points this season, I don't think they're any closer to winning the league than we are, particularly because they've got to find the manager. We have a manager who I'm prepared to believe in for now, whereas I definitely am not prepared to believe in Maresca.
Yeah.
I hate what I've seen of his Chelsea.
So do the Chelsea fans already.
And I think one of the reasons someone like Cole Palmer is not doing anything is because Maresca's a systems guy and Cole Palmer's a maverick. And Maresca seems quite happy that you get the ball and you're sort of not sure what to do and you're near the opposition goal. Feels like he'd rather you turn around and pass it back and started again than took a risk.
Maybe Chelsea would like to take Garnacho, one of the clubs that his team was sounding out, and we'll do a swap for Cole Palmer. He can return to Manchester. Boyhood United fan, of course. Cole Palmer.
He is, isn't he?
Big United fan. The game today, we haven't really talked about it. I know it's completely inconsequential, but there were a few big moments. I mean, the screw up for the goal we've talked about. It's funny, I was going to mention there's one of the coaches I follow on Twitter who's been banging on about this for months. He's like, United build up with one player too few, and Arne should get involved in the build-up more. Oh God, I forget his name. I think he's a Dutch coach, but he goes into real detail. It's kind of useful for
that sounds kind of interesting. Yeah,
amateur tactics people, like or I mean, we really get it.
We say this every time we talk about Onana. That was why he was signed, and it doesn't happen.
No, I mean the interesting thing is that he's like he needs to be involved more. So United have, because United, and this is true, and Danish on the Tactics Pod has talked about this. We get our central centre-back moving into midfield. This happened at Sporting as well. And we don't really have the players to do that. And you get that horrible situation where you get a centre-back who's back to goal trying to play the bounce pass and get it wrong. And we conceded goals like that. So
it feels like when you read the various tacticos, that seems to be a fault in this system. But more as everyone seems to say this is not the best way of doing it, is that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if we get a tweak or not.
And we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think especially because if you think about the kind of profile of the deep lying midfielders that he likes, they're also not exactly that. They're shuttlers. Because the progression's meant to come from the wing backs and the wide centre backs. And the problem with that, I think, is that generally speaking, the good teams progress the ball through them. They've got the bollocks to progress the ball, and then the ability to progress the ball through the middle of the pitch, to build through the middle of the pitch, not downside. So we'll see. I mean, did you think it was a penalty for the foul on Euro by Semenyo?
Oh, I was thinking of the one where Harry Maguire is dragged down.
Oh, sorry, Maguire. Sorry, I mean Maguire. There is.
Yeah,
I've got Euro in my notes here because just afterwards, not that long afterwards, there's a very, very similar foul on Euro outside the box.
Yeah.
Or the Euro.
There were quite a few like that. The ref, because the ref actually, where Bournemouth nearly scored from that free kick that hit the crossbar, it should never have been a free kick in the first place because Torquay did a perfectly clean tackle. Maguire also gets involved in some wrestling there, and I was like, oof, that's a bit close. But yeah, the other end, I mean, it seems like one, but Peter Banks was having a bit of a weird one today. I mean, he sends off Evan Nelson. I mean, it's probably like the only mitigation is he slipped. Does he slip?
He does slip.
He's coming. Yeah, but he's coming in with a lot of force anyway. Does that actually add to the slip? So is he in control? No. Is it dangerous? Yes. So it ticks the right boxes for the red, but it's marginal. The one before that.
Hang on, can we just do the Evan Nilsson one first?
Yeah.
So what I think what proves that it's a fuck up isn't whether, and I hear what you're saying. I don't think it was a red. I think that even if he was coming in a bit too quick, we don't know because he slips. And you can't penalise him, in my opinion, for sending someone off something that's in our imagination ultimately because he slips. But also, Alan Smith on the Sky commentary was adamant that he slipped, and he was set, and they can hear the conversation. There's no mention of a slip. And any sensible analysis between ref and VAR of that is, he slipped. Do you think it's crucial? And if you don't mention the fact that he slipped, it's not possible to discuss it sensibly without it. And that means I would guess they didn't notice it. Don't mention it to neither of them. They haven't seen it, which is mind-boggling, really, when you think about and like so it's there. So even if it wasn't a red card, or even if it was or wasn't a red card, the fact they didn't discuss it tells me that it's probably something that they've overlooked. Anyhow, I don't think it was a red card.
I haven't been to the PGRML training sessions or anything like that. I can read the guidance. I don't. They never invited me. I don't know why. I mean, yeah. you can read the laws and read the guidance, which are all out there in the public, and they have very specific language. If you follow the language, it sounds like a red card because there's nothing in the mitigation, right? The mitigation is speed and force and control and height, right? And so, I mean, I tend to agree with you. Like, if I'm looking at that and it's a United player, I'm like, fucking hell, that's unlucky. And it probably shouldn't be a red because is he trying to do that? No, but the intent is just not in the laws or the guidance at all. It's the outcome that is in the guidance. So that I'm sure is what Peter Banks is following. The one previous where it's really high on Garnacho, that seemed even more obvious to me because, like, at no point is that guy in control of what he's doing. Is it Kluivert or I forget now who commits the foul? And he's given a yellow card, and 30 seconds later is when Bournemouth go up the other end and score, or United managed to balls up there, playing out from the back and score, and that felt like a mistake from the ref compounded by a whole bunch of mistakes in succession from United, like classic wilderness years and all of that. I don't know. What did you think about that foul?
Yeah, it wasn't good. I would say it wasn't a good one. In general, I'm always trying to keep people on the pitch. So unless it's really egregious, like say that one on Saka by Leaf Textures the other day.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm trying to keep players on the pitch, and I'm trying to assume that they're not trying to hurt each other. So I can see why it stayed as it was, but I wouldn't have argued if it wasn't, I guess.
Yeah, I think generally players aren't trying to hurt each other, but the rules are there to incentivize not taking the kinds of, or making the kinds of stupid decisions that seem to happen today. Yeah, I mean, both of those could have changed the game. I mean, clearly the Evan Nilsson one changed the game because the momentum shifted to United straight away, and we prodded for 20 minutes without really creating many good chances, right?
So in my notes, I thought we were on top before it, I think. In my notes, I've got semi-look like scoring. It wasn't one of those where I'm thinking we could play or be here all year. We're not going to score here. I wasn't particularly surprised when the goal came because it felt like we were sort of creating some chances, some opportunities, and 2 strikers in the box. It just makes a difference.
Yeah.
That's why it's so fucking enraging that Obi's not available for Europe, and it's not even because I think he's done loads. It's just Fergie knew this. Strikers know where the goal is, and you have him on the bench. And obviously, the best example of that is Makeda. You had 1 week where he turned the title race. Did almost nothing else. That 1 goal at Villa. Did almost nothing else subsequently.
In his entire career, yeah.
In his entire career, for anyone, not just United. But strikers know where the goal is. And I think he scored a hat-trick against Newcastle in midweek for the youths. And so Fergie put him on the bench for that Villa game because he's in form and he's a striker. And so not having strikers on the bench when you've got like 68 people on the bench as it is, not having Obi, particularly now. And he did make a difference when he came on. He's much more of a focal point than Hojliund. And as we said at the top, he's got a better knack of where the ball's going to end up in the box.
I never actually
and that's different. That's different to one of our criticisms of Hojliund is not making the right runs in behind. But it's not just that. It's Obi just has a better sense of where the ball will drop once that phase of running in behind has passed and you're in behind or you're crossing or whatever. He gets the ball more. I mean, how many? Hojliund, I think, 1 shot today. The goal.
I'll look it up, but 1 goal, 1 shot, 18 touches, or 27 touches, 18 passes.
And I think I can think of at least two that Obi had.
Yeah, he made them both himself. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, you watch all his games at youth level, and he just seems to know what space to be in at the right time. And it's not like there's a whole bunch of stunning finishes either. He's just in the right place.
I was so surprised. We've said this before probably, but I was so surprised when I watched we found out we were getting him. I think I'd seen it before because I've heard he was brilliant for Arsenal. So I watched a compilation of his finishes and I thought I was going to see like loads of great finishes and running past players because I also knew that he was physically big for his age, and it's not that at all. It's just competence. No. It's competence in finding space and in finishing.
Yeah, I would love to have a dig at the club, just because it's fun for screwing up some arcane law, so he's not in the squad. But it appears like it's a weird UEFA law that a mid-season transfer. Even though he wasn't mid-season, he took weeks and weeks and weeks for the Premier League to ratify for safeguarding reasons, for obvious reasons, to ratify the transfer. And so UEFA doesn't allow mid-season transfer players, youth players, to be added to the B list or some weird thing like that. It doesn't make any sense because he's not cup-tied or anything like that. But so, some administrative weirdo somewhere has decided that we can't play him and we really could, and it could be the difference between making this season bearable and not. So, yeah.
Do you know what, though? Do you know what was pure wilderness years? 9 minutes of injury time. And incidentally, we got 1 extra minute for everything, including a goal. I didn't see right. But you get a corner and it's basically bang on 90 plus 9. So that's it. You don't know what else is coming. He goes short.
Yeah.
And we're looking like making stuff happen when we get the ball into the box. Like what the stage, like we as you said, we create good chances, but we were getting the ball into the box and it was bouncing about. Things were happening. Do you know what I mean? Like when you feel like you're very close to getting an opening for the sort of goal that we scored. And a lot of this is bodies in the box, and this is something we're terrible at.
Yeah,
bodies in the box. But here we're getting bodies in the box, and then you get a corner. It goes short and mind-boggling behaviour.
You're very right about the bodies in the box. It's hardly any. They're not running from midfield. The wing-backs are very, very wide, and our 2 sort of inside forwards are either like one deeper or Garnacho trying to do everything himself. You could do well with watching some of United's age group teams who scored like 8 goals between them in the last couple of days, and they throw loads of plays, both the under-18s and the Premier League 2 side that came back from 3-0 down against Everton or whatever it was. And yeah, because they've got loads of attackers and they throw loads and loads of players forward, and it makes a big difference. But yeah, United will have to change that next season. It's interesting because we don't get any runners from central midfield, and unless Bruno is playing deep, going past the ball. And even then, he's not one to make those third man runs, really. It is a missing piece of the squad now that Scott McTominay has gone to Napoli and scoring tons of goals there. It'd be interesting to see if they try and address that in the summer, just to get those extra men in the box. So.
What did you make of Mainoo today?
Small spaces player, yeah. I mean, he was quite quiet. He did one madness, didn't he, where he took on about 3 players and
he almost scored his goal, didn't he? Yeah,
here's the classic Mainoo goal. Again, it comes back to this conversation we've had so long. Where does he fit? I mean, they're not going to sell him. He'll sign a new contract at a reasonable wage, presuming him and his people are going to be reasonable about it. He's got plenty more contracts and years left. He's going to make plenty of money in his career. So I assume he'll sign that new contract. It's just a way of how do you fit him into the side? Is he one of those 2, or is he one of the 10s? And if he's one of the 10s and the inside left 10 is the position that Amorim seems to be playing him in at the moment, that's where Cunha's going to play. Yeah. I mean, I know you asked about today. Today he was reasonably quiet, I thought. I didn't think he had a brilliant game, but it's just in those tight spaces with like low blocks, men behind the ball. He's just brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant there.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's just another one of like those players who, yeah, I mean, he's a good sub because if you're chasing the goal, because of that, when you are chasing a low block, but it feels like he's gonna, with, as you say, like Cunha coming in, perhaps a right player for the right as well, and Bruno, it feels like he's gonna have to somehow become more athletic. And it's true what Amorim said, that he doesn't want him wasting his energy running about. And that is how this system works, that you have 2 scurriers in the middle who are really doing the job of 3. In order to do that, you've got to be an athletic monster. Or maybe what you do is, you have someone like Ugarte or whoever we might sign, like apparently we want Edison from Atlanta, I don't know. That's from Atlanta, but them flog themselves for 70 minutes, and then you bring on Mainoo when the opposition are tired, or that, and then when they're tired. But yeah, it feels like if you start him, you're starting him in the 8, and if you bring him on, you might bring him on in the 10.
Yeah, plenty of years to discover what he is really, but yeah, it feels like if it was a central 3 in midfield and he was playing off the left side of that central 3, it would be the perfect fit, and he's going to have to adjust his game somehow. What we haven't seen from him is a bigger range of passing or that physicality. I mean, he looked like he was on the protein shakes during his injury because he came back with pecs and some biceps. That didn't seem to increase his ground coverage. But yeah, I don't think, I think Amorim's right. He's kind of wasted as a scurrier in like a double pivot, which Edison would be as well. He's like a 6.5 basically, but we'll see whether that's him or a lot of talk about Hayden at Middlesbrough as well, who I can't say I've seen anything. His data looks fantastic. Yeah.
Hayden Hackney. I mean,
yeah,
a mate who watches that division thinks he's good, but not brilliant.
It's hard to say in the Championship, isn't it? But
yeah, it's a very different kind of football, the Championship.
Yeah. Ultra competitive and very fucking physical. Yeah. All right. Well, that's not a defeat to Bournemouth. Thank you very much.
Chorus.
Come on, you Reds. Bit of a big game in midweek.
Yes.
Are you going to the San Mamés?
I wish.
I'd love to go. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Well, hopefully the second visit. What do you think he'll do with the team? Because you're trying to work it out, aren't you, really, from what happened today?
Well, I mean, he didn't rest everyone, so he rested everyone last week. I guess they're looking at the load, which is, he actually said, Amorim said this before, it's not just the last game, it's the load of the previous games and the games to come, which is, of course, perfectly sensible. It's the periodization sort of methodology and all of that. So I think he'll play a very similar team, basically. So De Ligt doesn't look like he's back, so it's going to be Yoro Maguire for sure as 2 of the back 3, Dorgu for sure. Dallow's not fit. is it going to be Mazraoui because it's away from home, someone more defensive? Probably more than Amas, right? I don't know who the third centre back is. Who we get for that? If it's going to be, is it going to be Shaw?
Well, if it's not Mazraoui, then it's going to have to be Shaw, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he had a good game today, Shaw, I thought.
Yeah. I think it makes sense. I mean, I think that he'll always have the ability to fuck us over but I don't think it will be because he's rusty.
Yeah.
It'll be because he's him.
Yeah. I mean, it was not a good pass to Dorgu today. But apart from that, I thought he had a pretty good game. And he gets up to speed in that left centre-back faster than he does at left-back, fitness-wise, right? And
one of the, as we said just a minute ago, one of the things this system needs is centre-backs who move the ball forward. And he can do that, was doing that today. And particularly if you've got Mazraoui on the right, then you need, how are we getting the ball forward? Yeah. So the centre-back's going to be important that the centre-backs are able to do that. So, yeah, I guess it'll probably be him. So then the other choice feels like, it's going to be Ugarte, presumably, and
Casemiro, I would think, with Bruno a bit further forward. That seems like away from home. I mean, I don't know if we've had word on whether Nico Williams is fit or not, but that will come into play. You know, obviously playing off the left side, it might be sensible to have a sensible defender in there rather than Dorgu playing on the wrong side of the pitch. Seems like that's about the right balance. Casemiro and Ugarte, I think, is nailed on. Bruno, Hojliund, now he's got his goal, and presumably Garnacho off the left rather than Mainoo, although if he wants to go with an extra midfielder, he could do that if we're worried about getting swamped by Bilbao. Bilbao, we're going to do a tactics pod on it, but I've watched a whole bunch of stuff on them now, both analysis and games and highlights and stuff like that. Very interesting team because it's not like the Valverde's Barcelona at all, right? They're not playing with really high fullbacks. They play basically with this flat back four that stays there, but then commit tons and tons of other players forward. And so, you know, players running past our midfield, I'd be worried about. Presumably Casemiro will just sit there in a nice 10-yard space, right? Don't commit yourself too much. But it's going to be really challenging. They're a good side, Bilbao.
Because in the end, you have, with these kind of ties, although, especially without away goals, you think, well, if we're going to progress, we're going to have to win at home.
Yeah.
So getting out there with a draw is a very acceptable result.
Nowadays, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, not that our record... Well, in Europe, it's pretty good, but generally our record at home is not good this season. It's like
only unbeaten team
at home.
Only unbeaten team in European competition this season.
I know, amazingly, of the 100 and something that entered these three competitions. So incredible, yeah.
I mean, even Chelsea have been beat in the conference.
It tells me we're going to get to the final and lose to Spurs on penalties and we'll be the only undefeated team in the whole competition and still not bloody win it. So, no,
I mean, Spurs on penalties might feel quite good relative to losing to Spurs in the 90.
Oh, dearie me.
At least you can say penalties.
I was just going to look up whether Athletic played this weekend or did they have the weekend off or not. Oh, no, they beat Las Palmas on Wednesday and then they had this weekend off. Yeah, they often do that with their big matches in Spain. Well, it's going to be a real tough one. It would be very nice if Nico Williams is injured. Not for him, obviously, but for us, because he's their one truly world-class player. I assume that Iñaki will play on the other side. He's in and out of the side he's mostly in the side, but not always this season. And then they've got a bunch of scurriers in midfield and a pretty tight defence. Don't give away loads of goals. And a great goalkeeper. Nice. Simon is established himself as a top keeper, I think.
And so, I mean, it's going to be hot. Like, the atmosphere is going to be hot there.
Yeah.
And you can easily see these dickheads tossing a couple in the first 15 minutes. Like we've seen it before. So, it won't be easy. That is for sure. And they've also got the lure of a home final. They'll be putting absolutely everything into this.
We could do with a nice referee or so, give us a couple of favourable decisions, red card or so. We seem to need those in late goals these days. Whatever you can get, right? I haven't actually seen who the referee is. Do we know? Has he been...
Will we know? Will we have heard of him?
He's not been announced yet, I don't think. I'll have a look on UEFA one before the Tactics pod. UEFA do a media pack. Talking to the media, I got a press release in my inbox this morning saying Gareth Southgate is favourite to replace Ruben Amorim. Fuck off. Please, dearie me. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean,
man.
Like Amorim is going to have to be shit for probably the first 5 months of next season or something for him to get fired, you'd think.
Oh, for sure, yeah. He's going to go into next season with no credit in the bank. Even if we win to Europa League, it's like there's minimal credit, right? We might. I don't know
if he could come out this season with the Europa League. That is a massive result. If you'd have offered us any
Europa League, a few early signings in the summer, like everyone on the pre-season tour, so it's all done early, so we can prep his team. No excuses going to next season. Lose the first 5 on the bounce, and we could paint a story of feeling better about ourselves by this time next season, but it does require winning 3 more Europa League games, having that extra budget, and Sir Jim and his team pulling the fingers out and doing the right thing.
But I also think that we are seeing some kind of progress. We might say it's not enough progress. We might say it should be better than it is, but there are small signs. The way that we're moving the ball is a bit different. Yep. The position, the players seem to be in the right places. And even though we don't keep many clean sheets, we're not conceding loads either, apart from the Newcastle game. We're not conceding loads.
25 shots today tells me they're doing something right. And they weren't all like speculative 0.1 XG,
and
long
range.
If
you're a good team, you need the points.
Yeah. Good team, need the points. They're chasing a potential European place. This might damage them in that respect. They're a very aggressive side, as we saw today. Press very high. They're very successful at doing that. Iraola's a good coach who may or may not be moving on to better things in the summer.
Or worse things if he goes to Tottenham.
yeah, I'd caution that one. The only worse job to take than the Spurs job would be the United
job.
Oh, dearie. All right. How do you feel about it? You got a prediction?
No, I mean, I can never sit here and be like, we're going to get beat at this point when there's no money riding on it. So it was point.
In the old days of Raincast, me and Paul used to do a prediction at the end of I think one season I went back and looked at it. I predicted a win for every single United game. So I'm clearly rubbish at this. Yeah, it's going to be a really tough game. I can't really see how we're going to keep them out. And, chance to be difficult. Great, we're going to win 5-0, no problem.
2-2, 2-2, something like that. 2-2 sounds like something that might happen.
Yeah, might do. I couldn't say it's ambitious on the goals front, but we have been scoring goals in Europe, and it does seem to suit these players better.
And also, they're going to
lower intensity.
They're going to be trying to score, aren't they, you think?
Yeah. Bilbao, yes, and it will open up chances for the break, which would suggest Garnacho. Right, if we're gonna, if playing in transitions is,
I don't think we can play someone. Yeah, I don't think we can have a team with so little pace. If we take Garnacho out, it doesn't.
Yeah, Mount hasn't started the game yet, has he? Did he start midweek? No. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we've run out of things to say, Daniel.
Sure enough.
All right. Thanks, everybody. You can catch us on Patreon if you want to get our extra show. This week, Wayne and I talked about United's baby steps into the world of multi-club ownership. We're buying a player from Le Havre who's going to go to Lausanne and maybe back to Nice and then on to United. It's an interesting sort of sign of what might be to come.
Pretty scenic.
Very scenic, yeah. A good drive that would be, yeah. Lovely on the south coast.
You would basically accept that, yeah.
You would, yeah.
Much better than fucking Antwerp.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, the old days of that, yeah.
Do we know what countries you've been to, Ed?
Oh, God, I was counting them up. I got to over 50, and I was marking them on one of those online things, but I hadn't completed the full world, so...
What do you count? Do you count...
countries I've been to.
Do you have... No, I understand. That's what this is. If you've been just to a train station or an airport in that country...
Oh, no, I'm not counting that.
Okay.
No.
So I've been to the airport in Switzerland, but I haven't really been to Switzerland. So that's I've seen those clear perspex boxes where you can smoke in the airport.
Yeah, very nice.
I haven't got out of the airport, so does that not count?
I don't think so. Because you're still in international waters there, aren't you?
So what do you have
airport? Did you go landside or airside? Because if you're only airside, you don't go out. You haven't done passport control. You're not actually in the country, are you?
And I've changed trains in Austria, but I haven't been to Austria.
Oh, Vienna's lovely.
I've shown. I think we all showed our asses at the time to Austria because of its Nazi connections. So if I've done a moolie in that country, have I been to it?
It reminds me of the time on my stag do, my friend Matt, we went to Cork and we were extremely drunk for a few days and watched music and all the stuff you do there. And then he asked security on the way out whether she was into anal sex, and he spent a night at the Garda's pleasure. So don't do that, Daniel.
For that.
I know. Apparently she didn't like being asked that, which is fair enough.
No, that is absolutely understandable. Like, it's not something that one should do. I just try that's not an imprisonment of defence, obviously, because there's no trial. But I guess that's like a teaching a lesson situation.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. All right. I think that's it for the plugs. You can catch the lost tapes. We finished season 1 and we are thinking about what we're going to do for season 2. Wayne came back from Tom Terrell's family with a whole bunch more content, apparently. So
Quality
stuff. Yep. All right. Bye now. Thanks, Dan.